Hi everyone, we're going to be looking at lesson 12.3 today, understand the whole. So again, like how many parts are there all together? What is the whole of the object? So the I can statement is I can identify the whole by seeing a part. So by seeing only part of it, I know how many there are in the entire thing by looking at just the fraction that they give us. So the solve and share says, Miss Garcia's third grade class is planting a flower garden and a vegetable garden. Draw a picture of the whole flower garden and the whole vegetable garden based on the parts shown. How did you decide what the whole of each garden looks like? So for the first one, for 1/3 of the flower garden, they're showing me 1 out of 3 parts. So I have to draw how many more parts? 2. So I'm going to draw one more, find a square. We're going to erase that, try again. Okay. And if you drew flowers inside of yours, that's fine. If you didn't and you just drew the squares like I'm doing, that's okay too. So this is right here, the one that they gave us is 1/3 of the whole. This is 1/3, and this is 1/3 right here as well. So how many squares are there all together? 3, which is our bottom number, okay, which tells us how many pieces there are all together. Now looking at the vegetable garden, it says 2/4 of the vegetable garden. So they show us 1, 2, right here, out of 4 pieces. So I need to draw another piece here and another piece here. So that I have another one and another one. So now I have the entire whole because they showed me 2 out of the 4. And now I have 4 out of the 4 showing. The speech bubble says you can use reasoning. Think about the parts you know and how many parts you need to make the whole. So subtracting helps you in this. You could have said, I'll do the bottom part because I'm already on this one. They're showing me 2 out of the 4. If I want to know how many are left, I would have to do 4, which is the bottom number, which is how many pieces there should be, minus 2, because that's how many they gave us, equals 2. So I know I need to draw 2 more parts. Moving down, it says, what do the fractions 1/3 and 2/4 tell you about the number of equal parts in the whole? So again, for these parts, since it's complete sentences, I'm just going to write like a little bit and then listen for the rest. So again, I'm going to read the question one more time. What do the fractions 1/3 and 2/4 tell you about the number of equal parts in the whole? So for 1/3, it tells us that they're showing us 1 out of 3 parts. So we know that there are 3 equal parts in the whole. So 1/3 tells you, there are 3 equal parts in the whole. And I'll say it one more time. 1/3 tells me there are 3 equal parts in the whole. Because I'm paying attention to my bottom number. And then for 2/4, since 1/3 told me there were 3 parts in the whole, 2/4 tells me there are 4 parts in the whole. So 2/4 tells me there are 4 equal parts in the whole. 2/4 tells you that there are 4 equal parts in the whole. Okay, and moving on to the next page. The essential question, how can you use a fractional part to find the whole? So it says Anya and Novi are running in different races. The diagrams below show how much of their races each runner has completed. Draw a picture of the whole of each track. Write a fraction to represent the whole. So the speech bubble says you can look at the fraction to find how many parts will make up the whole. For B, you know Anya and Novi have each completed 1/6 of their races. 6 lengths of 1/6 make 6/6 or 1 whole. So if you notice Anya's line, it is shorter than Novi's line, which means her overall line will be shorter than hers, even though they're both running 1/6. This is 1/6 of their race. And it doesn't say that they're racing each other. It says that they're racing in different races. So they're going to be different lengths. You know, Anya and Novi have each completed, I'm reading the part B again, 1/6 of their races. 6 lengths of 1/6 make 6/6, 6/6, or 1 whole. It says here, these diagrams show the whole of Anya's and Novi's races. The 6 are different sizes because the tracks for the races, the holes, are different sizes. So even though it's 1/6 of something, it doesn't mean that it can be the same as 1/6 of something else. So it just means that there are 6 parts altogether, and that 1/6 represents just one piece of that line, and that there are 6 total. It doesn't mean that they have to be the same length. Okay, and then the bottom part says, why is Novi's track longer than Anya's track? Novi's track is longer than Anya's track because Novi's 1/6 is longer. I'm just going to put is L, but you should write is longer than Anya's. You get the point with that A. 1/6. So it's just that Novi's 1/6, the part that she started out with, that they gave us in box A, is longer than Novi's Anya's 1/6, sorry, that they gave us in box A. So Novi's 1/6 is longer than Anya's 1/6. Okay, and moving on to the final page. There's another example. So the part of a race Rob has completed is shown at the right. You can use fractional parts like this to identify the whole. And the fractional parts are just the parts that they gave you. Okay, so they gave you that this is 2/3 of the race right here. Okay, and it says 2/3 is 2 copies of 1/3. Divide Rob's track into 2 equal parts. So put this into 2 equal boxes, which is what they showed you right here. Then 3 copies of 1/3 make 3/3 or 1 whole. Draw 1 more third. So we had to draw the other box on the side. The fractional part they gave you was 2/3. They're telling you that there are 2, that this box right here represents 2 out of the 3 spots or lengths Rob has to run. It then tells you to break it into 2 equal parts, which you did here, or which they showed you here. And then you have to add another one at the end. Okay, so moving on to number 1 for guided practice, the Do You Understand section. If the distance Anya ran was 1/5 of the length of the track, what fraction would you use to represent the whole track? So if 1/5 is the fractional part they give us. It's also the unit fraction. What would the whole be? 5/5 is the whole. For number 2, generalize. What is true about the numerator and denominator of each fraction that represents the whole? So if 5/5 represents a whole, if 6/6 represents a whole, if 2/2 represents the whole, 4/4 represents the whole. What are true about all of these fractions? What are true about the numerator and the denominator of each of these fractions? So you should write the, and hopefully you'll be able to fit it, numerator and denominator are what? What are they? The numerator and denominator are the same number. Okay, moving on to number 3, do you know how? Draw a picture and write a fraction to represent the whole. So again, they're telling you right here that this is representing 2/8. So there actually has to be 2 boxes because it represents 2 out of 8. Now, I need to fill in the rest of the 8. So I'll put, 2 more right here, and then I'll put 2 more right here, and 2 more right here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boxes all together. And what would my fraction be for these all together? It would be 8/8. Okay, and again, moving on to the independent practice part at the bottom, you had to finish these pictures. If you drew new pictures, that's fine. It kind of just depends on how you read the directions. So this represents 2/3, so it represents 2 out of 3 pieces. So I have to draw one more piece to make a third. And it says to write a fraction to represent the whole, which would be 3/3. For number 5, this represents 1/2. It represents half, or one piece out of 2 pieces. So I have to draw one more piece about the same size, because that also would represent 1/2. And what would my whole fraction be? 2/2. And for this, it's telling me that this piece they gave us represents 3/4. It represents 3 pieces out of 4. So I have to create those 3 pieces first. Then I drew my 4th piece right here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. My whole fraction is 4/4. And then last but not least, number 7, it says that this box right here represents 2/6. So I have to make sure there are 2 boxes, and then I have to draw 6 all together. Now I have 4. Now I have 6. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what is my whole fraction? 6/6. Okay. So that is all for 12/3. And I did send out a little a sorry message to your parents, for those of you that are watching it by yourselves, just so you're aware of it as well. I didn't mean to frustrate anyone with what I said in the last video. I just know some people at home seem to be using the videos as an answer key instead of as help and to learn the lesson. They're just using it to copy the answers. So if you are one of those people, please stop. You're cheating yourself by not just trying to work through the problems while listening to what I have to say before I give the answers. So with that being said, you have made it to the end of 12-3. Have someone let me know so you can get your extra credit for this. And this is a part of the lesson that you're completing tomorrow. So if you've watched it today, or if you're going to be watching it today as I post it in a couple minutes, then that's fine. Just complete the homework and practice page for tomorrow. Okay, bye guys.